Hey up YouTubers, how are we? Hope you're all keeping safe out there. Well, since lockdown was eased, we are all allowed to ride our motorbikes. Some of you have been on some tours, some of you have been on some long rides, and you're finding it a bit uncomfortable. A lot of people are saying, I need bar risers, need new seats, etc, etc. Well, today we're going to have a look at the ergonomics of how to set your motorcycle up to be comfortable for yourself, without spending loads of money. If you fancy a bit of that, stick around, stay tuned. So since lockdown was eased, we're all riding our bikes, and we're all riding longer and further. Some of us haven't been out for a long time, some of us have got new bikes, and some of us aren't really connecting with our bikes. I'm hearing that everybody's getting sore bums, sore backs, sore shoulders, etc, etc. How many of you out there have actually set your motorcycle up to fit you? I bet not very many. Now, if you have two cars in the family, or just the one car, and your wife drives it, when you get in the car, do you adjust the seat? And the wing mirrors and the rear view mirror? I bet you do, don't you? So tell me, why don't you do it on your motorcycle to make it more comfortable for yourself? So, we're going to have a look today. Without spending loads of money, we could probably ease most of the problems that you come across with some dead easy steps. I've got my GS here, we're going to go through that, give you some tips of how to set it up to be more comfortable for yourself. Let's go and have a look at the bike. So, first things first, set your bike to sit somewhere where you usually sit. Have a look at what everything looks like. Does the panels on the side match to where your legs are? Usually for a normal sort of person it's going to do that. If any of you guys, girls work in an office, you probably do self-assessment sat at the desk. One of the things that you need to be doing is if you sat somewhere, you need to be taking the full weight and you need to be square to where you sat. So you need to be sat upright with your shoulders back. That's how you should be sat on a motorcycle. Some of you people might say, well, what about a sports bike? But we'll talk about that later on. So we're talking about the GS at the moment, what most of, well, not to say most of people ride, but it's quite popular out there. It's a touring bike. A lot of people are going to be riding. So you need to be sat on the bike itself, sat on the seat, sat upright. I had a tendency last year of riding, and what I'd do, I'd relax too much and I would slouch. So I'd take everything out my shoulders would sag, my back would sag, my arms, and I'd get pains and I'd get sore. You need to be sat upright. Chest out, posture. It's all what it is regarding posture. Once you can get that sorted and your feet in exactly the right position, because I think at the moment what I get a bit of a knee tendency. I was trying to find out what the correct angle is for your knees. Now, I was thinking of lowering my pegs because I need to open this angle up because it's just getting a little bit too tight, but it's not been so bad lately. So once you sat on a motorcycle and you're sat upright, get hold of your bars. So you should be able to touch your bars, hold your bars with a slight bend here in your elbows and still sat upright. That's what a lot of people don't do. They end up slouching and everything goes down, and then they wonder why everything gets bad. Everybody says we want bar risers. What do you want bar risers for? If you can sit squarely, sat upright on your bike, with your hands on the handlebars, with a slight bend in them, you don't need bar risers. Not at all. Problem is, it's getting down towards your wrist, which we'll talk about in a couple of secs. We went to Scotland 2 weeks ago, probably when this is going to come out. And my mate has a GS, low framed, he has short arms. He's having pains on his thigh here. So I sat him on the bike, and the reason was, he's leaning forward, he can't reach the bars enough. Now he does need bar risers, well not really bar risers, he needs the risers to bring him back, because his arms aren't long enough. For him to sit up straight, to have hold of the bars, he was leaning forward, which then means you're putting strain around this area here, and you wonder why you get uncomfortable. So, just because you're getting sore back, sore behind, sore shoulders, does not mean you need bar risers or a new seat. Sit on your bike, check, sit upright, chest out, posture correct, and get hold of your bars. If you can get hold of your bars with a slight bend in your elbows, everything's fine. If you're not there, your bars can actually come backwards, they can go forward if they're too far forward, if you've got longer arms, etc, etc. That's what you need. And the bend in it allows you to flex. You don't want solid, but you don't want too much, because they end up either too forward, you want to be set upright, and you need to keep your posture. So when you're riding, you need to be upright, looking up, being proud. Stand up, chest out, shoulders back slightly. That will gain everything down your spine, through your muscles, into where you should have your support on your seat. So let's look at it from a different angle. So we're sat upright, we're sat on the bike, our feet, our balls of our feet are on the foot pegs, depends on which way, how you like to ride. Usually balls of the feet. Sit upright, hands on the handlebars. As you can see, we've got a slight bend in here, which allows you to flex and allows you to sit up straight, shoulders back, and to be comfortable with your posture. Then the next thing we need to look at is, once you've got your bars in the correct position, what does it look like between your elbow and your wrist? Between your wrist and your forearm, it should be straight. There should be no down, up, because that's where you're going to start getting pain from. So once you've got that in the correct line from your shoulders with that, then we can start looking at setting up the brake and clutch lever. So how many people have actually set up their brake and clutch lever? Probably not many of you. It's one of those things, we buy a motorcycle, we get on it and we ride it and we adjust to it, then we get sore. So we've got a straight line. As you can see, mine at the moment is straight, fingers flat on the lever. Between my elbow and my wrist, we're straight. We've got no pressure there, we've got no pressure that way. So ideally, we're not going to get any pain in this area. Then you need to look at your fingers. So what I'm going to do now is exaggerate a lever that's not in the correct position. So if we push the lever down, now look at my hand compared to the wrist. There's no, it's not flat, because I need to be reaching down for the lever. So now I'm going to be uncomfortable. So we raise it up, and same again. Now look, we've got the bend here, which is going to cause problems up to your elbow, up to your shoulder, back across your other shoulder, down towards your back, and it's amazing what it's going to do. So what you need the flat. You need it to be flat. So you've got no pressure, it's straight, because that's how your hand is, and the pain from that can generate all the way down and think you need a new seat. It's amazing what your muscles can do and where you compensate for them. We'll have a look on the accelerator side, because if that's not set up, that can be dangerous. So looking on the throttle side, if this isn't set up correctly, this can be more dangerous than the clutch side, because if it's too low, as you can see, we've exaggerated a bit there. We've got the brake lever low, so for us to brake, because if we're wearing gloves, we wouldn't be able to come over the top. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually accelerate before we can grab the brake. So if you were going into a corner, you're going to have to actually accelerate in before you can brake, and that's not very safe, is it? And as we discussed, if it's too high, we're getting this bend again. We want that to be square, to be straight, all the way through. So we need that setting up in a place where it's going to be comfortable, and it's going to give us, from the bars, straight. You can see from there that you've got the straight line all the way through, and you're going to get no pain from there to your shoulder. And that's the way that should be. Set it up, have a try, see what you look like, sit on your bike, see where it is. You've got adjustable points for your whole handlebars, which can come forward, they can come back to be able to give you your right sitting position on your GS. But it works on all bikes, it just doesn't work on a GS, it works on everything. So we were talking before regarding sports bikes. So sports bike, you're leant over, you're down. Now, where you should be bending from is your chest. It should be your chest and the shoulders, not from the lower back, because that's where you're going to get your pain from. If you were leant over, you'd have your bend in your arms, but you need to be looking at your chest, so you, even on your bars for your sports bike, same as your brake and clutch levers. Depending on where you're at, if you haven't got this straight line here, you're going to get pain all the way up. If it's not straight, if it's like that, you're going to get pain. Sit on your bike and have a look at it. I'll show you on my CCM now. The CCM actually levers need to go forward, but we'll have a look at that. So on my CCM, I'm just finding that this brake lever here just needs to slightly just go down a little bit more. So I'm sat upright and I just seem to have a wrong sort of, I have a little bit of a kink in here, but I'm thinking what the problem is that this is just a little bit too high. The clutch is slightly lower. So this needs to go down about 4 or 5 degrees, which will then make it okay for me. So it doesn't need much adjustment, it just wants so that's better. I was getting a bit of pain here on my right hand side, but that's probably to do with the throttle. I'm finding it's easier when it's out here because it's less of an angle. As though, I don't know, I'm going to try that and then we'll see how it goes. But it works with all bikes. It's not just GS's, not just CCMs. It works with everything. Get yourself set on your bike, have a look at it, move it, change it, see what it does. Go out for a ride, come back. Oh yeah, that's better. If it's just not right, before you go out and spend money on bar risers, new seats, etc., etc., you don't really need them. So there you go, YouTubers. What do you think about that? You don't need to be going out and buying all expensive stuff for your bike. Get yourself sat on the bike, have somebody spot you, make sure you're sat up correctly, see where the bars are, see what they need to do, get your levers set up, take it out for a ride. If it's not just slightly right, have a think about it. There'll be a couple of links down below that explains a lot of this stuff. I would say 9 times out of 10, you don't need anything new for your bike. Like I said, my mate Chris has got short arms, he rides a GS Adventure, his bars don't come far enough back, so he needs something that he's going to have to pull them back towards him. That's why he's getting his pain in his thighs and his top of his thighs, just below his bum. So if you found it interesting, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button. Don't forget about that bell, as they say, ding dong it. Every time I upload a video, you'll get a notification. Anything you'd like to comment on, please comment down below. Any hints or tips you've got for all our viewers, give us a comment. Don't forget to like, tag, share and follow. Keep safe out there, and as they say, we'll see you soon.